Amen. Thank you, brothers.
Amen.
I tell you what, y'all know how to set it up for us. We're so excited to be here. Well, y'all can keep going if you want. That was great. Don't make me sing, because I'll get it going now. We want to thank you for being here this morning. While we're getting set up, this is my twin brother, Kendall Duffie, and I'm Kelvis Duffie. We're the Duffie Twins, and we come here by way of Nashville, right down the street. But there's something about Memphis. Boy, y'all know how to put it down, so I'm grateful to be home. But just a quick story while we're setting up, because this stuff is heavy, and I know you're looking just the same way I would. What in the world is all this stuff on this table, right? Well, we're about to dive in, pun intended, to give you guys a quick lesson on faith and freedom and how this helped us to understand God's word even more clearly.
That's right.
But I want to thank Pastor Whalum for allowing us to be here, and First Lady. Thank you so much for having us. Of course, a quick story. We talked about the movies that we work on. We are a part of the marketing for a streaming series called The Chosen. How many of you have heard of The Chosen?
The Chosen.
Look at those hands go up.
We know Pastor knows about it.
So we got a call from a very good friend of ours that we've known for many years, Tracy Bethay. I believe she's Tracy. How you doing? My brother called her and she said, "Kendall, y'all working on The Chosen? My pastor loves The Chosen." And he said, "Really?" Because we're having a premiere in Atlanta. And she said, "Do you think you could get him to come?" No problem. So we hooked them up. They came to Atlanta and met the cast and crew of The Chosen. And I think you had one of your books with you. I'm sure you guys have his books, right? And so that was a good start here. But I know Kendall's been here before doing some screenings.
That's right. That's right.
And so we're here today. He asked us if we'd come and speak today to the men, Men's Month, about something that we love on the side, outside of our marketing company with my sister, Michelle Duffie, and that is scuba diving. Now, I'm going to ask this quickly. How many people in here even swim? Hands up. Is there swimmers?
Scuba dive.
Okay, we got some swimmers. This is good.
That's
Usually
good.
the hands are really low when it comes to us. You know what I'm talking about, getting in that water. So this is good that you swim. So now we're going to go into a deep dive about something even greater.
That's right. So I'm so excited to be here today. Now, I'm certain a lot of you guys are looking up here and seeing this scuba diving equipment, and you're probably thinking, what in the world is Pastor got going on today? Well, you are about to be inspired like you cannot imagine about how this applies. This scuba diving, how it applies to faith and freedom. Are y'all ready? Okay, now, let's go ahead and get started here. Hi, we're the Duffie Twins, Kelvis and Kendall. Now you're probably wondering, what in the world does scuba diving have to do with anything related to God, faith, and freedom? Well, scuba diving opened our minds on a whole new level on faith and freedom. And you're about to go deep with us as we explain exactly how it all applies. Now sit back and enjoy this clip and get ready to dive in.
I see a shark. Lord have mercy.
Okay, we're going to talk about how scuba diving gave us a fresh and inspiring new take on faith and freedom. What is faith by definition?
So faith, a complete trust or confidence in someone or something. It's believing that what seems to be impossible actually is possible.
What seems to be impossible actually is possible. Let's go. Now we're going to talk about a couple of scriptures before we get started in this presentation that will reference faith. Let's first talk about 2 Corinthians
I got it here. 5 and 7.
Thank
5
you.
and 7. For we live by faith and not by sight. Now, we're taking these scriptures out of context, so we always want you to reference back and rightfully divide God's word. But we're looking at 2 Corinthians. It tells us, for we live by faith.
That's right.
And not by sight. Hebrews 11 and 6 tells us, and without faith, it is impossible to please God. Impossible. That means you can't beat the system. It's impossible to please God without faith, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he is and that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him completely.
Amen, twin.
Hebrews 11, 1 through 3 says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. But by faith we understand that the universe was formed by God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. There's one more we're going to talk about, and that's Philippians 4:19. God shall supply all of our needs.
Some of our needs?
All. How many?
Part of our needs? Okay, make sure
According
you understand this.
to his riches in glory.
Okay, so now, here we go. As you saw in the clip, I'm a certified rescue diver. I was told, and I was showed and explained that this apparatus, known as a scuba regulator, would keep me alive and breathing when I'm deep in the ocean. I was told this. So I went through a curriculum, about 1 week online, and then after I went through the curriculum, I had to go on a boat to actually apply what I learned to see if I actually got it, see if I actually believe it. So what happened was, I got on the boat after I studied, okay? I got on the boat, and what happened was, I felt myself saying, all these things that were told to me, now I have to actually put it in action. There were some people in my class that stayed on the boat. I'm going to tell you why. They didn't have faith. They didn't believe what they were told works actually does work. But I believed it. So what happened was, I got off the boat, I got into the water, and I put this thing that they told me was going to work. It's called a regulator. Can you?
Yeah, got you.
I put this thing called a regulator in my mouth, and I took that first breath, and they always tell you, breathe regularly. Nothing is different. I took a breath, I breathed out, and in my mind, I said, what they taught me, what they told me, it works. I'm breathing, and I'm 40 feet in the ocean, and then I'm 60 feet, and then I'm 100 feet, and I'm still breathing. Now stay with me. I believe this. Why is it that I'm back here, we, as believers, can go through a curriculum, and we have the most tried and tested curriculum known to man that talks about faith, and what do? We lay awake at night and we worry. We lay awake at night and we lose sleep. The reason why is because we don't believe what we've been taught. And just like my scuba instructor taught me and showed me, I know your pastor teaches you about this. I know he does. And so if I can believe what a man told me, and I'm in an environment that we're not meant to be in, then why can't we believe the most successful curriculum on the planet when it says faith works? It really does work. Now I'm going to give you a quick story about what happened when I was very new to scuba diving, okay? Probably I was maybe on my third dive. I was a newbie in the water. I get in the water, and all of a sudden, there's a guy diving with me. We call it a dive buddy. He's got a camera, and the camera has these big arms with lights on it, and somehow his camera arm got caught, hold this real quick, got caught underneath this hose, which is the hose that I use to breathe with. And he was turning to the right to photograph something, right? Which you're supposed to do. You want to take videos and photos of things down there. And I was turning to the left. So as I turned, before I realized what happened, his his arm of his camera pulled my regulator out of my mouth. And I'm a new diver. I'm very new. I tried to bite down, but it was too late. It came out of my mouth. Now, first of all, you see this hose, it's only about 3 feet long. So, and the other thing that's important to know is that when you're in the ocean, everything is weightless. So this is just kind of floating around. But I was taught and I was told that when your regulator comes out of your mouth, and you have to practice this, that all you do is lean back and reach your arm around, grab that thing, and blow out, and put it back in your mouth. And water will not get in your mouth because of what's called ambient pressure. I was told this. Well, as a brand new diver, you're either going to panic or you're going to lean on what you've been told works.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
So what happened was, I put that thing in my mouth, I blew out like I was told to do, and it hit me. We have to study to show ourselves approved. We cannot gloss through this and just think that we're not going to be tried. We can't do it. So you have to read this and read it in a way that you're really getting it. Because I promise you, something unexpected is going to happen and you're going to be tried. And if you don't know what to do, you're going to panic. So here's where it gets really beautiful. Once that happened to me, and I saw to myself, you know what they told me works? It really works. I became so excited and so passionate that when I go scuba diving, I have videos on my phone, and I'm going places, I'm showing people, man, look at this. I'm down with these coral reefs. So I'm in the barber shop in North Nashville, in the hood, and I'm showing brothers, homies, man, check this out, man, the coral reefs, and over time, my passion for scuba diving was so convincing and overwhelming that some brothers that looked like they wouldn't even stick their toe in a swimming pool said, I want to try some of that you're talking about. I want some of that. Brothers in the hood, because my passion was so overwhelming. Now check this out. So we went to Florida. I trained them. They went scuba diving. And now when I walk in the barbershop, they're telling other people about it. So check this out. What if we believed and know that faith works to the point that we told everybody about it all the time? Hey, check this out, y'all. I was facing this, but I knew God was going to work it out, and he did. Can you imagine if that enthusiasm carried over and people were drawn to say, what is it about this faith thing that you keep talking about? And you have a chance to witness and give God the glory. Now, just quickly, I'm going to show you what we do when we first get in the water. It's called a dive check, a pre-dive check. So on the pre-dive check, what we do is we make sure everything is working, okay? So first thing I do is make sure this tank is turned all the way on, all right? So
I'm trying to use my notes, see? Mm-hmm.
I need my notes because my notes are more powerful. So before we enter the water, we do this pre-dive check. And so we make sure the tank is turned on. We make sure that we breathe off of our regulator to make sure that we've got air coming out of this thing. We make sure that our fins, and make sure this thing doesn't fall off, so make sure that our fins are strapped on. Everyone see this? Make sure they're strapped on. All these things we do is called a pre-dive check. And the reason why we do this is because we don't want to get in the water and not have gone through the things that we know we need. Now, every day in life, we wake up, we should do a pre-life check. A pre-life check. And let me tell you a little bit about what that may look like in a symbolic term. Because see, everything that applies to scuba diving applies in everyday life on land.
That's right. Amen.
So, a pre-life check. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. My fins will help me to navigate through currents and rough situations. Well, you got to have something that you can swim away from when that negative talk and that negative chatter is going on in your office. You got to be equipped to move away from that.
Got to swim away.
Okay? You got to make sure that your mask, so when we get in the water, we do what's called a defogger. we put this little cream on so that our mask will not get foggy when we're down in the ocean. And that defogger helps us to see clearly. So we want to make sure that we can see all the things that may be designed to harm us throughout the day. Okay? And then what's really important is that, and this is amazing to me, the first thing we do when we get down to make sure we can start our dive successfully is we have to allow the air to come out of this vest called a buoyancy compensator so we can become neutrally buoyant and weightless. And in order to do that, we have to hold this inflator hose up like this. And I can't help but wonder that God is saying, I'm going to always get the glory. Always get the glory. At all times. So, Kelvis, you started scuba diving, and I know that you had we talked about you had some fear.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You were wondering, what is my brother doing down in the ocean? And I said, just try it. And I want you to talk about, in particular, Twin, how you got past the fear to get off the boat. Because you can't experience what you believe works if you stay on the boat.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So this is good. So when my brother started talking to me about scuba diving, I really was like, I've got other interests. I'm not really trying to do it. But I felt how inspired he was. I felt how confident he was. And so I did. I took the course. It was about a 4 to 6 week online course. And then I was told after the course, because sometimes we think things are easy, you have to go out and apply what you learned. Same way as being a Christian. You're going to be tried and tested. You're going to have to step out, and people are going to see what you're made of. So what I did is I went to Florida, and the first thing they told me was, you're going to have to jump in this swimming pool. It was 10 or 12 feet deep. Before we even started the course, what my number one thing was I had to tread water for 30 to 45 minutes. You guys know what treading water is? Where you sit here and you do this. You can't touch the ground. There's no way to cheat it. You have to learn it. So I got in that pool for 30 minutes, treading water, treading water, treading water. After that, I had to get into the pool, the shallow end of the pool. I had to strap up with everything that I had learned about. Had to put my BCD on, had to put my regulator in my mouth, had to put my fins on, had to have my compass with me, had to have my mask or goggles, whichever you call it, had to go in there, and I had to learn everything about what I had learned on the computer. Well, after that, it was a 4 or 5 hour training in the pool. I was exhausted. You have to take your fins on and off in the water. You have to keep going. You have to keep applying what you learned, because once you get underwater, there's no second guessing. There's no coming back from that once you're under that water.
Let me interject something really quick, Twin. What he's saying is that you have to be prepared for what might happen even though it's not happening, because it's probably going to happen at some point.
So after the 4 hour course, I'm thinking I'm done, right? He said, no, there's more. We have to go out to sea, and we have to apply everything you learned in this shallow in the deep. We took a boat ride out. I'm looking. There is no land in sight. Do you hear me? No land in sight. And when we got there, I started thinking, is this really what I want to do? But I realized I had been trained for what was in front of me. The same way you read your word, you know things are coming. You have to be ready for what is next.
Make it plain, make it plain.
So what I did is I looked around, and it was either get off the boat or stay on the boat and never apply what I had learned. So what I did is I got off the boat. I got in the water. We started doing our drills underwater. He's making me clear my mask, which is really incredible for me, because what seems not practical is practical in water, because if water seeps into your mask, you have to lift your mask to clean it, which is strange for me, because I'm thinking,
you're already underwater.
I'm already underwater. And I'm telling you, there's a mind trick when you're underwater and your mask starts filling up with water. You got water in your mask and you're in water. It is something that's going to blow your mind.
That takes faith. Is believing what they said would work, works.
What I had to do is put faith into action. So I had to lift my mask and blow out, and it cleared my mask out. Then we had to go in, and I realized that I wasn't floating quite right. I wasn't balanced with my weight. And so I felt like something was wrong. And so you can't talk underwater. You have to figure out how to communicate. It's all hand signs. It's all hand signs. And this is the greatest hand sign that I have ever learned, to just give it up to God when I am going through something. This is the hand sign that you just have to remember to go to God. And so I let the instructor know something was wrong, and we continued to fix everything that was wrong. Well, that was a number of hours after my day started that morning with treading water and working in the pool. Now I'm out at sea, and I'm going through all these drills, and I'm going somewhere with this. And you guys have to know that life is not perfect, but faith in God will get you through it every time.
That's right.
So I come up thinking I was done, and I'm on top of water, and I'm tired, and he tells me, take off your vest. Take off what's holding you up. Take it off in the water. Take off your fins. Take off everything. And I thought this dude was crazy. Take it off? He says, you have to learn that sometimes everything that you're trying to hold on to may not be there, but if you have faith to believe it can hold you, it's going to be right here. And at that point, I said, I think I'm done. I think I don't care if I pass or fail this. I think I want to get back on the boat.
And I said, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. Because I need someone strong next to me, someone that I can depend on.
So what I did is, at that moment, and this is going to happen to each and every one of you if it hasn't already, there's a still small voice that speaks to you and tells you to remember what you've been taught. Remember your training. And I know Pastor Kenneth teaches you. I know you have people around you, and I'm telling you, when you think that it's time to give up, that is the very time that you hold on. I held on to what I believed. I put it back on. I finished my course, and I got certified, but I got certified with a 100. I didn't miss any points of the entire lesson.
Amen,
because
amen.
I had faith to get off that boat, get in the water, and finish my course.
Now, let me share something else that's important. A lot of people always talk about how do you deal with the pressure? You know, there's water pressure. So every 33 feet in the ocean, it's called an atmospheric pressure, which means there's more weight on top of you. The further you go down, the more weight. So what happens is you have to do what's called equalizing. And equalizing is releasing the pressure between your ears. And so you do that by pinching your nose and blowing. And they tell you in scuba diving to do that early and often. So the first maybe one feet down the ocean, pinch and blow. Get that pressure off. Another couple feet down, pinch and blow. And what I got from this is that you can't wait until the pressure is too great to try to fix it. And so equalizing in the ocean is parallel to prayer. You can't start praying when there's too much pressure and you waited too long, which is why if you practice praying every day, you relieve a little pressure every single day so that whatever happens, you're not going to wait till, because some of y'all, only time you say Jesus is when it's too late. Jesus, Lord, help me. Get in the practice of equalizing your life. Prayer, early and often.
All right, we got to keep going. We have a little bit more time left. I want to talk to you two real quick about this right here. This on your BCD is called a compass. Now, a compass is important to get you where you need to go in life. Now, just quickly, this is the compass we need through life. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. No matter how beautiful it is under that water, you're going to see all kinds of fish, all kinds of marine life. And it's easy to turn to see that fish coming at you, or a shark, or whatever it is, a stingray, manta ray. I know y'all said shark, brother, please. Trust me, they ain't really trying to eat us down there. The point is, you see all these beautiful things under the water. And when you turn, you're disoriented. You're underwater. You have no idea which way is north, south, east, or west. You don't know. Swimming just a millimeter off course can put you somewhere totally far from where your anchor, where your boat is when you come up. The only reason and the only way that you can stay on course when you're underwater is through this compass. And I'm telling you, this is a lifesaver. You cannot say you want to get through life without the greatest compass that's ever been given to us.
That's right.
And I say that because many times we try to figure it out ourselves. Well, I think I was swimming this way. Well, I think the boat was this way. Well, I think, why don't you pull out your compass and see what God has for you so that you can get exactly where you need to be in life?
That's right. Now, let me tell you guys, now we have another section, so we're going to move quick, a section on freedom, which is going to blow your mind. But I got to say this. Last weekend, at this very time, I was in the ocean in West Palm Beach, Florida. Literally 1 week ago today at this time. And the captain gave a message. He didn't know he gave a message, but he gave a message. This is what I received. He said, when you guys come up from this dive, in this part of the ocean, the current is going to be very strong. And so you got to keep your fins on to get to the boat, because when you get to the boat, you take your fins off to climb up the boat, because you can't climb up with the fins on. He said, keep your fins on, because if for whatever reason you kind of get back out in that current, you're going to need these, because these were designed to fight the things that are around you. Now listen, he said, come close to the boat and grab it really firm, because my boat is anchored. And my boat is not going to move regardless of these currents. And so if you're holding on to what is anchored and what will not move,
that's good.
Then you will not be moved.
That's good.
However, if those currents do push you out a little bit from that boat and your hand slips, you're equipped with that which will help you to fight what's going on around you.
Ephesians 6:11 tells us to put on the whole armor of God.
The
and
whole
I'm telling
armor.
you, this right here is the whole armor you need, and that Ephesians talks about that when Paul was talking to the church at Ephesus. So let's
Now,
go to the next section.
We're going to go to the
We
next
gotta
section,
go.
which is on freedom. It's about to get deep, no pun intended. But this section on freedom, let's go here.
Get off the boat.
Faith without works is dead. I'm a certified rescue diver. I read, I studied, and was told that this scuba gear would work when I'm deep on the ocean floor to keep me breathing and alive. And I believed it. Why is it that we read, study, and are told that faith works, but yet we live with doubt and fear every day? That's not how faith works.
Okay. We can go next slide.
Next slide, freedom. So by definition, Twin, what is freedom by definition?
Freedom is the power or right to act, speak, do, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint.
All right, let's go. Now, scripturally speaking, unforgiveness, let's talk about this for just a moment. Unforgiveness is one of the heaviest things that we can carry in life. One of the heaviest things. When we scuba dive, we have to learn how to be totally weightless. Let's go to these scriptures here. Let's read these
Ephesians
scriptures.
3:12 says, in him and through faith in him, we may approach God with freedom and confidence. 2 Corinthians 3:17 tells us, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
All right, let's go. When you scuba dive, you're free from one of the most powerful forces on earth, which is gravity. You're free from that. You get a chance to experience something that's really hard to explain. Let's go.
In this clip, I'm adding lead weight to my scuba gear. The reason why is because you cannot descend without weight on your scuba gear. The problem is not the weight. The problem is not knowing how to properly compensate, displace, and neutralize the weight to make it work for your good. Once you understand that, you can fully enjoy the beauty of freedom. This is a simple demonstration to show you that regardless of the weight, when you learn how to fully compensate and displace it, it actually works to help you. Helps you to enjoy total freedom. It's not the weight, it's you not knowing how to compensate the weight.
Okay. So let's talk about this for just a minute. Weight. Most of us look at weight as a negative thing. Well, our lungs allow us to have what's called buoyancy, which means we're not going to sink. Imagine taking a balloon, you blow it up with the air, and you tie it up, and you push down in the water. It's going to bounce right back up. So we have that same thing, what's called buoyancy, with our lungs. So you have to add weight. We have these weight pockets, and we have to literally put lead weight in these pockets in order to be able to get down in the ocean and stay down in the ocean. But here's where it gets deep. It's not just about getting down there. Now you have to become totally buoyant and weightless. And to do that, you have to be able to compensate the weight. Let's go to that next clip here. And so by compensating the weight, hold that. So by compensating the weight, what we mean in scuba diving is that you have to learn that regardless of how much weight is in this pocket and in the jacket, that when you find that right balance, the weight doesn't matter. It's knowing how to compensate for the weight. And once you do that, you become totally weightless. Now, what I found that I've done is when I'm in the ocean, Pastor, I start doing things if I'm on a fun dive, like just taking my regulator out of my mouth. And you're thinking, what is he talking about? Just stay with me here. Sometimes I take my fin off and then put it back on. Sometimes I'll take my mask all the way off, underwater, 100 feet, take it off, wipe my eye, put it back on. Now listen to this. The more you practice things that seem uncomfortable, then when it comes time to do things that are uncomfortable, you're familiar with them. And so I know that one of the most difficult things for people, especially men, to do is to say, I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive myself. But that is the same thing in scuba diving as the weight that we have in life, the unforgiveness. And so just like I practice doing the things in the ocean that eventually made me a really strong diver, I practice them because I know at some point I'm going to need that skill. So I would love for everyone just to get in the practice of saying these simple 3 words, I forgive you and I forgive me. Because the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll become when it's time to do it for real. So on the count of 3, I want everyone to say, I forgive you and I forgive myself. 1, 2, 3.
I forgive you and I forgive myself.
Imagine getting so comfortable. You look in the mirror and you do it at home, wherever in your quiet, so comfortable with doing what seems uncomfortable that when it's time, because there's going to be a time you're going to have to say this, that it becomes so easy. Because now I take my mask off and I'm like, where's my mask? Oh, it's right here. And put it back on. Where's my mouthpiece? Oh, I'll put it over here. Because I'm so comfortable in an uncomfortable environment, doing things that I know I'm going to need to do at some point.
Now listen to this. When it comes to diving, one thing that you do not do, you don't go out on your own. You always take a buddy.
That's right.
Because too many things can happen. If you're underwater and you happen to run out of air in your tank, which you shouldn't, but anything that happens, you have to have a dive buddy. Now, this is important because a lot of times in life, we try to get through it ourselves. We won't talk to people. We won't share anything going on. But if I'm underwater and I need help, or let's say I need to displace some weight or move it because it's too heavy for me, well, I got a buddy that's looking at me who can help displace the weight so that I can enjoy my dive, my time.
And I'm going to remind him, it's not the weight. You got to compensate the weight.
So the last thing we're going to leave you with before we pull this last one out is the download of being under the water and all the beauty that God has for us because we have gotten off the boat. Do you hear me? Get off the boat. There's no way any of this could be possible for us to share if we didn't know what was under there. And we wouldn't get there if we sat on the boat. So the purpose of this lesson is not to get you to scuba dive by any chance. It's to get you to get off the boat to do what God is telling you to do. Many of you have businesses that you wanted to start. You're sitting on the boat. Many of you have marriages that need to be fixed. You're sitting on the boat. Many of you are looking to get that education. You're sitting on the boat. The only way you can get that degree, fix that marriage, work on anything, that business that you have, start that business, you got to get off the boat. And you got to exercise faith because it's hard. But if you have your buddy system and you've done your homework and you have the full armor, you will make it. There's nothing that can stop you. The last thing I'm going to leave you with before we go there is that there's one thing that we do as we're ascending from a nice dive, 100 feet. We've been out there for an hour diving around, looking at all of God's creation. What we do when we're coming up, we deploy a surface marker buoy.
And just real quick, so that basically is just a quick definition. So they're like, so before you come up in the water, well, there's boats all over the place, and so you don't want to come up and get hit by a boat. So you shoot up this little thing called a surface marker, which allows the boats or anyone around to know there's a diver ascending.
So what's happening is when you follow God's word, and you know you're onto that next thing, and greatness is in you and it's coming up, you deploy that surface marker, and it says, "Hey, I see somebody coming up." And there's nobody that can stop you from coming up. When you get to that top,
You're coming up.
what you're saying is, I've completed my mission down here, and I'm getting up now. That boat is coming, that anchor. So once I come up from that dive, they see me coming, and they can't stop me. I'm on that boat, and I'm doing all that God has for me, and I'm enjoying the best life that there is to live.
That's right, that's right. And so just a quick reminder, I mean, we could honestly talk about this for hours, and so Pastor, we may have to come back. I don't know if they'll let us back. I don't know if they'll let us back after all this. So like scuba diving, but if y'all let us back, we want to share more. But just real quick, this curriculum here is the most successful in the world. So if we can believe what we were told would work in an unfamiliar environment, then you have to believe that faith works. And you cannot worry at night. Worrying is staying on the boat. You can't say, well, I would buy this house, but you're staying on the boat. You can't say, well, I hope my marriage is going to work, but you're staying on the boat. You can't say, well, I'm 50 years old, why should I start a new business? You're staying on the boat. If this curriculum works, how much more will this work?
Our download from coming up from the water was a brainchild, and we're closing here. Thank you for allowing us this time. Is that after being underwater and just having peaceful time with God, and I know that sounds, for some of y'all, yes, we have worship under the water.
All
We're
the time.
down there. We got downloaded, my brother got downloaded with an idea of creating a vegan restaurant called Deep Sea Vegan. And Deep Sea Vegan is because we're deep sea divers, but we also do vegan food. And so in Nashville, we're a resident pop-up there, and we serve to the community. We've served for many celebrities in the city of Nashville, and we've gone around to Atlanta and different places. And so that was birthed from getting off the boat and into the water so we could get this download. And I'm telling you, the food is amazing. And I know some of y'all like vegan. Yes, vegan. And I promise you it's tasty. So much so that we wanted to bless each and every one of you today with the gift. So we have some of our deep sea vegan cookies that we brought. So after you have your Sunday dinner, complimentary, we brought you peanut butter. If you have an allergy, don't touch the peanut butter. It has real peanut butter. We also have butterscotch cookies. So that's yours to take so you can see, you can taste and see that the Lord is good. Thank you for your time. We're finished here.
Thank you.
Okay, for sure. Yes.
Come on, y'all, give it up.